Hey everybody, Chris here. So after the Dogecoin sell-off over the past couple days and a Bitcoin sell-off overnight, we're left scratching our heads wondering where the crypto market goes from here. We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out as well as when I do live streams. And yeah, some cryptos are still holding up pretty well, like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash we see, and a few others that aren't having these sell-offs. But just kind of interesting that Bitcoin was kind of following Dogecoin, because we were all wondering, well, Dogecoin had hit bottom and Bitcoin was still holding pretty well. But yeah, overnight we did have a big sell-off. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart, just over 23 cents. Yes, we did have this little pullback here overnight, but that little pullback, I mean, followed a larger pullback, obviously, that we've been talking about the past couple days, selling from 28 cents down to this 23 cent range. And yeah, we'll get into that in just a minute, but this most recent one, as Doge was recovering back to 24 cents last night, Doge came back to where it was yesterday on the dip, down here 22.3 or so on the dip. So we now have a short-term double bottom there. This is what I had predicted during yesterday's live stream we would see with Doge. Not an immediate recovery, but yet not falling down lower, 21.20, as some were calling for. I think it was going to come out of this triangle, kind of bleed out sideways, and we're not too far from that. But Bitcoin, this was the big drop that we had overnight on Bitcoin. It was up over 119,000, ended up dropping into the 114s. That's right, the 114s. Well, we could talk about liquidations and hundreds of millions of dollars liquidated here on Bitcoin, and we were actually looking at about 115.6 or so, where there was a lot of leverage there. $200-300 million just in that area alone. Yeah, so it did take that out. Now, I know there's big shorts here. Certainly this one at 117, new big shorts created on Bitcoin. That has a big target on it. These big shorts up here, again, $400-300 million. These are up over 120,000. It'll get there. I think it'll get there. But right now, there's more of a short term. The 117.1, 117.2, right in that area. These were big traders betting on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin sell-off, even dropping lower and continuing to drop. Although we do see on the Bitcoin chart now, back up around 115, 116. So this 117.2 isn't that far out of the realm of possibilities. So we'll start with Dogecoin. The price prediction gets hammered with a brutal 22% crash nobody saw coming. Well, we did say that there would be a pullback. There were some that were saying, no, Doge is going to 30, 31 cents. Clear sailing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Not so sure about that. But yes, that escalated quickly. Dogecoin just face planted with a brutal 22% crash, left pretty much everyone scratching their heads. 1 minute, Doge was sitting pretty above 28 cents, looking like it might keep climbing. And the next minute, demolished. And it wasn't a gentle pullback. We're talking about a full-blown reversal, wiped out most of Doge's recent gains in what felt like minutes. Just when the market was getting its groove back, people were feeling bullish again, Doge decided to remind everyone why crypto can be so ruthless. The thing is, Doge had been doing everything right up until that point. It was cruising above all the important moving averages. Volume was picking up nicely. The rally from below 20 cents up to almost 29 cents looked solid. Sure, the RSI was getting a bit hot above 70, but nobody expected this kind of carnage. And that is true. We didn't expect it to come down. Now I know there's some bears out there. Oh yeah, Doge is definitely going to go down this way. And I get that. We hear that. But the technical indicators were not pointing to that. And that's what we had. So We'll get to where we think Dogecoin's going in just a bit, but Bitcoin slips below 117. Whale selling, what is that? Well, another whale from 2011 just woke up and sold 14,000 Bitcoin. So that's what we've got. We have this selling pressure on Bitcoin, and I mean, why didn't they sell at 120? I don't know. All of a sudden they decide to sell. So interesting that a lot of these long-time Bitcoin holders that we've seen over the past week or two have been selling Bitcoin. Like they think that this is the top. And I'm not so sure. So we'll be watching that as we go forward. I mean, Bitcoin is repeating its halving blueprint. These are the 4-year cycles. 2021, top at resistance. 2025, history rhyming. And we could see a target again to $200,000 Bitcoin still coming, which was also my target that I had from 2 years ago. I was saying top of this cycle would be around $200,000 Bitcoin. So that is still what is coming and what I'm looking at this fall as seeing a run on Bitcoin. So the whale selling now in the summer of 2025, I don't get. Certainly since they've been holding for a long time, they understand the 4-year cycles if they've been paying attention. But that's Bitcoin, and that's not the only one. I mean, Bitcoin mega breakout loading. BTC is coiling inside a massive ascending wedge, and we're right at the apex. Each breakout attempt has respected this structure for years. So this would be it. A breakout, retest, and then higher. Again, I think about 200,000. Bitcoin Census has this chart up at 350. That would be a massive run. A 3x would be massive. But this chart screams accumulation before detonation. Next major macro leg may just be getting started. So, and with all the institutions and the governments and big companies just continuing to buy, the short-term sells can have an impact because, I mean, they're selling on the open exchanges. A lot of the companies that are buying Bitcoin are buying OTC, like off the major exchanges. I don't know why just buy on the exchange, price will go up. I don't get it. But that's what's happening with Bitcoin. How does this translate to Doge? What's Doge doing? Well, we just had this pullback from just over 28 cents, and we are actually hitting an upward sloping support line. And we see on the RSI here on the 4-hour chart, we see lower lows, which points to a support trend line, which is bullish. And with that bullish look, this is pointing to bouncing and going higher. Dogecoin forms double bottom, eyeing rally to 46 cents. This is our friend Ali, who's like, if Dogecoin is truly forming a double bottom, this is the spot for a rebound. Reclaiming 26 cents as support could set the stage for a rally towards 46 cents. So we would see that going all the way back to December. This is the big move we think is going to happen this fall. I am fully on board with this as well for Doge. Meanwhile, our friend Trader Allen, another good-looking chart. Again, I don't know why he does half of them with a black background and half with a white background. But here we go, looking at patterns. Again, we have a top, a sell-off after a downward sloping resistance line. We saw that in 2023, and then early 2024, a run-up, downward sloping resistance line, followed by a breakout, little high, pullback, and then rocket up. This was the end of 2024. And then we had this downward sloping resistance line again. We just came up to 28-29 cents, right? And then we have a pullback. Again, these patterns repeat themselves. Alan's really good at finding these. Is this the signal for this next move? So why Dogecoin could soar in the coming days? Is Dogecoin about to surprise everyone? A discrete yet massive accumulation could reignite bullish appetite. Charts, on-chain data, behind-the-scenes rumors. Doge could soar. We're talking about BitOrigin this week. I mean, they just bought 40 million Dogecoin for their crypto treasury, and they say they're just getting started because that's only about $10 million of about $500 million worth of Doge that they want to accumulate. So this is just the start. I wouldn't be surprised if they're buying on the dip now. They should be, right? And our other company is going to start getting in on Doge as well. We'll be watching. Again, here was the RSI that we had. This is on the daily chart. So as Dogecoin moved up over 28 cents, the RSI was peaking there. So a slight pullback was certainly predicted. Again, not as deep as the Dogecoin pullback ended up being from 28.6 all the way down to 22.2. So yes, big pullback, but you know what? It's healthy, flushes out the long leverage, and gives a spring point for then moving higher because, of course, as we zoom out, we're much higher than we were back earlier in July. Now, if Dogecoin from back here on the 10th, 11th of July, instead of doing what it did here, right? What if instead it had just slowly been moving up? What if Doge had just been doing this instead? Slow and steady move up, right, to the current price. Everybody would be super bullish about Dogecoin if that happened. Everyone would be going, oh, Doge, Doge. Instead, we have all this negativity, yet we're still up like 35% for the month of July, which is good, right? Which is good. And yet everybody's negative because, but this is Dogecoin, and we have to expect that. With a meme coin like Doge, it doesn't trade slow and steady gains like that. No, Dogecoin is much more volatile, up and down. That's how Dogecoin trades. So you got to know what you bought into. That is Doge. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Where is Dogecoin going from here? Give the video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.